Hey everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. Following up on the major news from Tuesday that Mariah May is officially in WWE. I can't believe this internet. I can't believe this community. I can't believe some people specifically on the AEW side, whether they're being, completely authentic and being just jackasses or, just trying to clown around and just, make a joke. Regardless of it, and I know I've used my opportunity to be a little bit critical of AEW and how they handled Mariah May. You could call that tribal. I mean, it was just me giving an opinion, but you guys want to use it one way or the other. And I think, hey, when you have a 25-year-old or a young talent like Mariah in your company and you have a chance to keep her. And I understand that, maybe there was no turning back, but it's just it's bad optics. That's all I'm saying. But for AEW fans to basically go and this is mostly what they were, maybe these were just some dipshits on the internet, to go man, she went from 50,000 people to performing in a performance center in a warehouse. What? What? NXT has the best women's division in the world right now. And they're operating out of a performance center. So because they're outrating AEW and because, hey, they do a lot of their shows in front of 300, 400 people in a performance center, that's a bad thing? That's all of a sudden what this is? Really? Really? That's come on. What are we doing here? If you're mad about her leaving AEW, that's one thing, okay? If you're mad about that, this was her dream, and hey, let's also spin this forward, and let me just get to my point here. Mariah May being in NXT is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I actually think it's the right thing. Some people are not going to agree with me because they're like, oh yeah, she could step onto the main roster tomorrow, and I totally agree with that. Here's the problem with that. What, are you just going to throw her right away into, you throw her right onto SmackDown and, have her beat Zelina Vega and, have her be the Women's United States Champion? It's she wasn't going to go straight to the main event, okay? She's not going to do that. So, and there is some legacy and there is some lineage with that NXT Women's Championship. And as I said, that women's division down there is unbelievable. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for her to, start off in NXT, have a run with the NXT Women's Championship, much like Stephanie, much like Juliet did, and then, be on the main roster near the end of this year, early 2025, be a part of the Royal Rumble, and, we can move on with our lives. I don't think it's a death sentence. I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't think it's, oh, yeah, she was in front of 50,000 people in Wembley Stadium in her home country, and now she debuts in the Performance Center. She's clearly happy. This is where she wanted to be. This was always the destination. My whole thing was it could have been the destination later down the road because she's still got her whole career ahead of her. That was my issue with AEW, is that they kind of just fast-tracked it and, pretty much rushed it. And I think, like I said, they could have created more compelling television with her. But, if you're one of these schmucks out here just trying to use, oh, Jade Cargill got to the main roster before she did. People forget she showed up in NXT. She was training in the Performance Center for a while and then showed up in the Royal Rumble, okay? These are, look, I don't have a rhyme or reason for what was different about that, because in terms of, let's get real. In terms of wrestling ability, Mariah's got Jade beat. I don't really have an answer to that question, but here's the reality of the situation. Not all situations are created equal. And the women's division in 2024 was great. The women's division in 2025 is just borderline batshit insane. They've since added Stephanie Vaquer, Jordan Grace. They've had Roxanne Perez. They got Julia. Now they've got Mariah May. People are going to make fun of whatever her new name is because it sounds like that's going to be a thing, and I'm going to have to, really hear from people. It's just you AEW schmucks are some of the most miserable people in this community. And just when I say something bad about your product or I say something bad about the latest superstar to leave you you guys make asses out of yourselves because, like, why does this have to be, oh, how many people she performed in front of? Because WWE fans make fun of the fact that your A show is drawing 2,000 people a week. This is WWE's. I mean, they call it developmental. It's, their third show. And some people will look at me and say, well, Mike, hey, you just said that Mariah May, it's not a death sentence to go to NXT. It's like, it's not. It's not. She's going to be the women's champion probably inside of a month. That title holds a ton of lineage in WWE. Some of the greatest women in this company in WWE have held the NXT Women's Championship. And to, potentially, work with some of the future stars of tomorrow, kind of adapt herself a little bit to, what the WWE style is, because I know she's got a little bit of a different style. I mean, that's not necessarily the biggest deal in the world, but like you guys just like are just completely delusional, completely and utterly delusional. Like it's just, it doesn't always have to be, black and white between, AEW and WWE. And occasionally I will weave that into a topic basically because the reason why, I'm a little like I'm spinning, the whole WWE and the optics of her being in AEW earlier this year, and like that's just insane. And it's not great optics considering she was holding the championship just 4 months ago. She was just holding the championship like 3.5, 4 months ago in AEW, and now she's on a different roster. Like that's just something you don't see. And I feel like that AEW could have gotten more out of Mariah May. And potentially, if they had booked her better, maybe she would have stuck around for maybe another year or two. It didn't have to be like this. That was my whole thing. But again, back to just the whole narrative around, oh yeah, her going to NXT is a bad thing. It's not. It isn't. And if your rationale behind that is because she's performing in front of less people, fuck off. That's just stupidity. And then people try to use Jade Cargill as like, a rationale. Like I said, it's not that they saw Jade as more of a star than the other one or the other way around. Jade also, she didn't perform in NXT, but she was there for a while. So it's just like, the fuck are we doing, man? Like it's just, tribalism and just like, you can like whatever company you like, but it's just like people now making fun of and making light of the fact that Mariah's going to get a new name. It's just like, guys, enjoy your product. Enjoy it. You're going to get a dream women's match that I think is getting rushed at All In. But, because another one of your people left for WWE and they went to NXT doesn't have to be a damn death sentence. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon.